So think about why we collect things. And there's a lot of factors that go into why we collect things. Nostalgia. We've got affinity and love for our sports teams and our athletes. We collect things because they're rare. A lot of times we collect things when they're rare. Not all the time. But one of the awesome things about Sports Illustrated, and I've got a box here and we're going to do an unboxing video, but one of the awesome things about these magazines that we get graded is the stories associated with them. So much more so, and yeah, they're beautiful and they're a work of art and they capture that moment in history. But where magazines, in my opinion, are so much better. I mean, crush sports cards. I mean, if you want to do a sports card versus magazines comparison, rarity, pop counts. I just saw something recently that the Babe Ruth, I think it's the 1933 Gaudi Babe Ruth, which was, super old, super collectible. There's 4,500 of those that have been graded from 1933 of Babe Ruth. We think these vintage sports cards are all rare, and some of them are. Some of them, they produced a boatload of them, and they all survived. These magazines, vast majority didn't survive. So rarity is a big part of it, and that's where magazines do so much better than sports cards. They are much more visually appealing and better for display. And the one area where I just think magazines crushes sports cards is in the stories associated with them. So that's what I've got here is a box full of stories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slabs in this box, which is an odd number for me to submit. And they are all vintage. Talked about this before. Man, these vintage Sports Illustrateds have become, I don't want to say impossible to find, but pretty close to impossible to find, and very difficult to find in decent condition. They tape this. Yeah, I got tape all over the place. All right, this getting this open has become my biggest challenge so far. Okay, so I've got some very cool issues. Many of these I've never owned before. Only 1 out of the 6 have I ever owned before. Packing slip out of here. Open them the right way so I don't end up peeking at the grades. I need to always have them with the back facing toward me. Okay. So sit back and get ready for some stories. And some cool stories in these. My name's Jim. I'm with CGC Sports Illustrated. You know the rules. I know what these issues are. I don't know what the grades are. So you're getting my authentic reaction on these grades for the first time. 6 slabs, all vintage. What do you think of that? A lot of these aren't Sports Illustrated either. Oh! It's impossible to get high grades on vintage publications like this. And I got a high grade. But it's not a 9.8, it's a stinking 9.6. Okay, this is Roberto Clemente. This is a publication that's called Pittsburgh Baseball and Me. This was produced in 1973 by the local daily newspaper in Pittsburgh called the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. So this came out right after Roberto Clemente passed away. And if you think about it now, and in modern times, whenever a huge athlete passes away, if you go look at the newsstand, there are tributes. I mean, I can't even count how many Kobe Bryant tributes came out after his passing in 2020. That's what people want. There's demand for them. But back in 1973, tribute magazines, when someone passes, especially the untimely passing of such a young superstar like Clemente, they didn't exist. I could not find, I did a ton of research on this. If you find one, please let me know because I'd love to know about it. I could not find any Roberto Clemente tribute publications anywhere except for this. And again, produced by the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. So the interior is just tons of photos and articles over his career that came from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Again, this was produced in 1973. It's the only publication tribute I've ever seen to Roberto Clemente. This 9.6 is a Pop 1. none higher. There are a couple others graded. There's a couple 9.4s, a couple 9.2s, a couple 9.0s out there. So this has been in circulation and been out there. I can't believe they dogged me and gave me a 9.6 on this. This thing is immaculate and in spectacular condition. The fact that it's a pop 1 and none higher, that's my solace. That, you know, eases my pain from not getting a 9.8 and only getting a 9.6. But a very cool Roberto Clemente, the only one I'm aware of. And again, if you see one, please let me know. I'd love to know. The only Roberto Clemente tribute publication that I've ever seen at 9.6. That one hurts. That 9.6 freaking hurts. I mean, that's 50 years old. 50 years old. So close. Okay, next up. Not gonna dwell on that because we got a lot to go through. Okay, said this was a box full of stories, and this is definitely one of them. This is Joe Namath. This is the Namath Weeps Sports Illustrated that came out on June 16th, 1969. 5.5. It's the highest graded copy out there. Yep, highest graded copy out there. I projected this at a 6.5, so what the hell, CGC? Again, looks very clean for a 5. That's the most beautiful looking 5.5 I've ever seen. So this photo and magazine captures a crazy incident in Joe's career. So 6 months earlier, the Jets win the Super Bowl. They win Super Bowl III. Joe Namath family guarantees a win. But during this time, Joe is part owner of a bar called Bachelor's 3. And it was alleged that there was some illegal gambling going on at that venue, at that bar that he was a part owner in. It had been reported, and phones were tapped, and the local DA had planned to raid the bar. So the NFL and Commissioner Pete Rozelle get a hold of this, and keep in mind, this is 1969. Not today, where, we've got DraftKings Stadium and there are sports books within stadiums today. This is back when sports were terrified of gambling and it affecting, the outcomes of game and game fixes and all that sort of stuff. So Pete Rozelle gets word of this. He's the commissioner of the NFL and ordered Namath to sell his interest in the bar for being associated with, quote, notorious persons, and that was part of the collective bargaining agreement at the time. The NFL players couldn't associate with notorious persons. So what did Namath do? He said, up yours. And on June 6th of that year, he announces his retirement from the NFL at the age of 26. Now, within months, Joe would unretire before the season started, would sell his stake in the bar, and end up joining the Jets and not missing any game. But what just a bizarre series of events. And I found that story fascinating. And this issue right here just captures that story beautifully. This photo was taken at that press conference where Joe was announcing his retirement and crying and all this sort of stuff. And just a bizarre incident. And I love the flip that sports has done on gambling. It was, gambling will, we're going to do everything we can to eradicate it, not be associated with it. And of course, now we've got teams in Las Vegas, and DraftKings and FanDuel sponsor everything under the sun, and there's sports books inside of stadiums everywhere. Namath Weeps, 1969, graded at 5.5. Told you this is a box full of stories. Box full of stories. Those are probably the two best ones. Okay, next up. Yeah, you can see some staining down there on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to take that all day, because this is Jim Brown's first Time magazine cover. They did not give me my labeling there, but they did break it out as a variant. So this is the Canadian edition of Time magazine. Came out on November 26, 1965. The American pop, this is the only Canadian copy graded, so this is a pop 1, none higher. The Canadian pop counts, or the American pop counts, are 7-0. There's 170, 265, 260s. I projected this at 6.5, so missed my window. Of course, Jim Brown passed away not too long ago at the age of 87. I don't need to go through his resume for you, but the highlights are he was an NFL champ in 64, three-time MVP, Hall of Fame in 71. Jim Brown, first Time magazine cover from 1965. Great looking. Come on! You dog. Okay. We've seen these purple labels way too many times in my unboxing videos. But this is where we are in the hobby. So, before I do the reveal, purple label means that this issue has been restored. And 99% of the time, what you see is that somebody has done some color touch on it. So if you've got a spine tick that breaks color, somebody looks at what that color is, get a marker that matches the same color, and colors it in so that it looks better, so that it looks like it's in better condition. We're going to keep seeing this. In fact, I expect this trend to accelerate going forward. We're going to see more unscrupulous buyers doctor and restore issues and sell them as if they're not restored. So this is my warning. If you're buying these sight unseen, you just got to be careful. There's a risk. There's a risk that your issue might not be a newsstand and that label fell off and you didn't catch it and it gets to come back to the subscription issue. There's a risk that every issue you buy is going to have color touch or some bit of restoration on it and you might not catch it. So let's take a look and see what we got. Interesting. Restoration includes, this is even different. Centerfold reattached with glue. I obviously missed that when I was pressing this. That stinks. This is a purple restored label. Stan Mikita's second cover from March 20th, 1967. There is one 9.2. I own that one. There's an 8.5. There's two 7.5s. I had projected this at 6.5. Nailed that frickin' projection, didn't I? Way to go, Jim. Missed the damn centerfold being glued in. It's frustrating. These purple labels have become very, very frustrating, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know if there's anything we can do about it other than be aware that sellers are doctoring these issues and selling them as original, and every issue you buy, you take a risk. Oh, that stinks. I don't know what to do about it. I mean, I don't know that there's anything that any of us or as a hobby, as a collective, can do about it. Because it's so difficult to spot restoration, especially when it's tiny like that. That stinks. All right, moving forward. Okay, I'll take this all day long. All day long. Oh, yeah. Got the variant on that. You've seen a lot of World Series programs in my unboxing videos lately. I am a huge fan. This is the 1958 World Series program. This is the Yankees variant. So some of these have been graded before. There's one 7.5 of the Braves variant. There's an 8.5 of the Yankees variant. I projected this at 7.0, so that's within my window there at 6.5. I own both of these, in both the Braves and the Yankees variant. Yankees beat the Braves 4-3 that year. It was Hank Aaron's last World Series appearance. Told you there were great stories in here. So Hank Aaron's last World Series appearance. I mean, this program was in the stadium for the last time that Hank Aaron played in the World Series. And now it's here and encapsulated and preserved and at a beautiful 6.5. It was also the last World Series for Eddie Matthews and Warren Spahn. So kind of an interesting group there. 1958 World Series program, Yankees variant at 6.5. Okay, last one. That makes me happy. Makes me forget about that stupid purple label. Last one. Here we go. Okay. Take that all day long. Didn't get the labeling on this. What a gorgeous, gorgeous piece this is. Muhammad Ali, this is his first Time magazine program, or first Time magazine, came out on March 22nd, 1963. There is one 9.8 in existence. Blows my mind that this exists in a 9.8. There are 4 9.4s, 2 9.2s. I projected this at 5.0, so spot on. This came out before his first Sports Illustrated cover. So this came out in March. His first Sports Illustrated cover didn't come out until June of that year. Just a beautiful looking cover. This came out before he became heavyweight champ. He was obviously Cassius Clay back then. It was before he became Muhammad Ali. You can see the big ding in this one is, look at that. I mean, that crease that breaks color all the way down there. And there's some other problems on it. I got some staple tears on the back and stuff. Some staple tears back there. But I'm happy with it in a 5.0. Muhammad Ali, first Time magazine cover. One of a kind. One of the greatest athletes and pop culture figures that we will ever see. And they'll never see another one like him. A lot of fun. Great unboxing video. Love the vintage. That Roberto Clemente 9.6. Yeah. And a purple label. Those are both going to take me a long time to get over. But a great box and great stories nonetheless. Subscribe here on YouTube. Follow me on social media. More unboxing videos coming up soon. Thanks for watching.